sent a message using your voice and your votes to determine the direction of this country. And I am so proud and I'm so grateful to every single one of you.
The results are in and a number of races in our area are being called. Good evening and thank you for joining us for this special edition of KREM 2 News 10 at 10 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. We have team coverage on this midterm election night. We are tracking the latest results and gathering reaction from Spokane County and North Idaho. First, though, we want to get right to those top races that we are tracking at this hour. One of the most high-profile races in the entire state of Washington has been that for U.S. Senate.
Let's jump right in. Incumbent Patty Murray seeking her 6th term as U.S. Senator. Her challenger, Tiffany Smiley, a political newcomer, positioned herself as a fresh choice for voters. Now, CBS News and the AP have called this race for Patty Murray. Taking a look at the results thus far, Murray with 57% of the vote compared to Smiley's 43% of the vote.
Interestingly, as we take a look at the numbers for Spokane County, or if we have those, Murray had only 47% of the vote in Spokane County, where Smiley came out ahead in this county with 53% of the vote, but obviously not enough to overcome those statewide numbers tonight.
Surrounded by her family on stage tonight, Murray said Washington State showed up in a big way.
We got our work to do. We need to protect reproductive rights. We need to protect this democracy. We need to take this night and go to work and keep on working for all of you. That's my pledge to all of you. And again, thank you so much. Thank you.
Moving on now to the race for U.S. Senate in the state of Idaho. CBS and the AP have also called this one in favor of the incumbent Mike Crapo. Looking at the results thus far, he has 59% of the vote compared to David Ross, 31% of the vote.
And just moments ago, the Associated Press called the race for Cathy McMorris Rodgers in Washington's 5th congressional district. McMorris Rodgers running for her 10th term in Congress. Her opponent was also a newcomer, Natasha Hill, who grew up here in Spokane. As we take a look at the numbers, Cathy McMorris Rodgers with 59% of the vote this evening, enough to overcome Natasha Hill with 41%. Both of those candidates took the stage following the results, showing McMorris Rodgers taking the lead. Let's take a listen.
It's an honor of a lifetime to represent Eastern Washington in the People's House. And with this re-election, I recognize that there's an enormous amount of confidence that you have put in me to rebuild our foundation. I know that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It has to be fought for and defended.
We're absolutely going to continue this work tomorrow. Veterans Day is this Friday. Let's make sure we're looking out for people in our community, because now is when they need us, not in 2 years when campaign season starts back up, not just next year when we've got our mayoral race, but every single day we can be showing up for people in our community.
Moving on now in the race for Washington's 4th congressional district, incumbent Dan Newhouse is leading right now over Yakima businessman Doug White. Taking a look at the results, pretty lopsided at this hour. Dan Newhouse with 69% of the vote compared to Doug White's 31% of the vote. All right, moving on now to the races for Spokane County commissioners.
Yeah, this is a historic election, as we have said, for Spokane County voters. This time electing 5 county commissioners instead of 3. So we begin in District 1. Chris Jordan currently leading over Kim Pleece with a pretty solid lead right now. 56% of the vote for Chris Jordan against Kim Pleece and her 44%.
Meanwhile, Michael Cathcart and Amber Waldriff are looking to be the first commissioner for Spokane County's new District Number 2. Taking a look at the results right now, Waldriff up with 56% of the vote compared to Cathcart's 44%. As we know, Cathcart currently sits on the Spokane City Council. He was attempting to move over to become a county commissioner, but at this hour, it looks like Waldriff, if these numbers hold, will be elected to that position.
All right, let's move on to District 3. Incumbent Josh Kearns has a big lead right now over businessman Wild Bill Schreiner. 78% of the lead, looking as though Josh Kearns will clearly be able to hold on to his seat in District 3.
In District Number 4, incumbent Mary Cooney is leading over Brian Noble, who served as a pastor in the Inland Northwest. Cooney with 59% of the vote at this hour compared to Noble's 41% of the vote.
And the last one that we have been keeping a very close eye on, another incumbent looking for his re-election, is Republican Al French. Maggie Yates trying to challenge him, running for political office for the first time. Al French, though, with a narrow lead, 51% of the vote, only by about 540 votes over Maggie Yates with 49%. Again, if these numbers hold, it looks like he will continue to serve in District 5. And Spokane Democrats were watching the commissioner's race very, very closely since Democrats have not had a seat on the commission for many years.
Kyle Simchuk spent the evening at their watch party tonight. Kyle, what was the mood like in there this evening?
Mark, the party started to die down a little bit. We actually had to move out of the ballroom because there is a very loud band playing. You probably wouldn't be able to hear me if we were in there, but there was a lot of cheering, a lot of excitement when those initial results came out around 8:15. And as you mentioned, a lot of people here keeping a close eye on the county commissioner races. That's because there's 2 new seats up for grabs, 2 new positions on the ballot. Democrat Chris Jordan leading his challenger. Here's what he told the crowd earlier.
My campaign in District 1 was always about new voices at the table, building a strong middle class in Spokane, and a community where everybody belonged.
And one of the closest and most watched is another county commissioner seat, Maggie Yates, narrowly behind incumbent Al French. Here's what she had to say.
As you know, we are in a very tight race in the 5th District for county commissioner. Right now, we are separated by less than 600 votes with more than 10,000 ballots still to be counted. As y'all know, the elections office is
So Yates there telling voters to hold tight. We also heard from Natasha Hill. She's 11 points behind Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers. Hill said she's proud of what they've accomplished so far. We also heard from Spokane County Auditor Vicki Dalton. She thanked the crowd here tonight, and she said that people just need to hold tight, and really on Friday is when we'll first start to get a good picture of what these results will look like. Still a lot of ballots left to be counted. Again, these are just the initial results. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. We want to stay in Spokane County as we move on to the race for sheriff.
This is a big one. Longtime Sheriff Ozzie Knezevich not seeking re-election after 15 years of service. Current Under Sheriff John Knowles is leading against Wade Nelson. Taking a look at the results thus far, Knowles was 60% of the vote compared to Nelson's 40%. So it appears Knowles has a pretty sizable lead at this hour. All right, moving across the state border to the state of Idaho now to take a look at the gubernatorial race.
5 candidates advancing from the primary into the general election. We're going to show you the top 2. And tonight the AP has already declared incumbent Brad Little as winning this one. He had 61% of the vote compared to Stephen Hite, who was the next closest challenger, but only with 21% this evening. Now, you may have noticed some extra security if you dropped off your ballot tonight.
Spokane County hired crowd management services to help with traffic control and to ensure that voters were not being intimidated. CMS employees were also there to keep election workers safe once they picked up ballots after 8 p.m. to bring them in to be counted.
Spokane County Auditor Vicki Dalton says the security measures are standard, and it's not the first time that CMS and law enforcement have been used at ballot boxes.
Want to turn our attention now to the Spokane County Republican Watch Party.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley has been talking to the Republican candidates most of the evening. Amanda joining us now live. Amanda, what have you learned so far tonight?
Oh, well, Mark and Whitney, gosh, the room has been buzzing since the results came out here at the Republican election party. Several of their candidates leading tonight. Take a look at this video with their reaction to the results we shot earlier this evening. Everyone's eyes were glued to their phones, waiting for the round of results to come out. Then the room erupted in tears. We saw lots of pats on the backs, big smiles. Probably the biggest smile of them all, Kathy McMorris Rogers, showing her results at a lead of 59% of the vote. She told me this evening that just shows how much confidence voters have in her taking on a 10th term in Congress. Take a listen.
Well, I'm really humbled by the continued support of the people of Eastern Washington, and I work hard to be a representative that they can trust. I believe that trust is really foundational, and trust has just been broken on so many fronts right now. And I'm ready to go to work as a trust builder in this community, but also to make a difference for the people of Eastern Washington.
Now, McMorris Rogers is also on track to becoming the first woman to chair the U.S. House Energy Commerce Committee. She told me she is extremely excited about the work she can do in this role. Now, you mentioned earlier, Mark and Whitney, the Spokane County Sheriff's race, right? We have Sheriff Ozzie Knezevich retiring this year, and John Knowles coming out in the lead tonight. I spoke with him this evening. Man, it was hard to grab him. A lot of people were hovering around him, congratulating him. He told me he is excited to get to work and start serving the community. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. Now we want to move on to the race for Spokane County Prosecutor.
Incumbent Larry Haskell is running for his third term as county prosecutor. He is running against former deputy prosecuting attorney for Clallam County and Deb Conklin. Taking a look at the results right now, Haskell up 56% compared to Conklin's 44%. So if these numbers hold, it appears Haskell will be headed to another term as county prosecutor. In the lieutenant governor's race, Idaho House Speaker Scott Bedke and Terry Pickens Manweiler are looking to succeed outgoing Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeehan, who lost her bid for governor. Right now, Bedke up in a big way, 63% of the vote compared to Manweiler's 32%.
All right, we stay in Idaho as we talk about the Office of Attorney General. Fourth generation Idahoan Tom Arkush, a Democrat and Republican, and former Representative Raul Labrador looking to take over the seat for Idaho Attorney General. Clearly appearing that Raul Labrador will be able to move into that position. He has a sizable lead this evening at 60% of the vote compared to Arkush and 40%. We will have a lot more election coverage here in just a few moments, but we want to take a break and check in on the forecast.
Yeah, after a winter storm that swept through the inland Northwest today, we actually enjoyed some sunshine, but it also was pretty cold.
It really was. We want to head straight to our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo. Hi, Jeremy.
Oh, hey guys. It is quite chilly out this evening as well. Right now we sit at 25 degrees. Not a big drop in the past few hours, but what I want to point out is the wind. It's light out of the north-northeast at about 10 miles per hour. That makes your 25 feel more like 15. And with that wind across the region, basically your feels like temperatures are about 10 degrees colder than your current temperatures, widespread below freezing as that cold air settles in. And with clear skies overhead and not much in the way of cloud cover expected overnight, we are likely going to wind up with a very chilly morning. As our low moves up to the north and out to the east, we'll try to get a little more cloud cover throughout the day tomorrow, but I think we wind up mostly sunny once again. But temperatures start out on the chilly side. We are down in the teens early Wednesday morning. You factor in the wind, and it feels a lot more like those single digits for all of us as we head out the door. That winter chill sticks around the next couple of days. I think the wind, though, eventually dies down. That should be Thursday. We get a break from that.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. And we are not done yet. Our election coverage continues. We're checking in on the races for Washington and Idaho Secretaries of State.
And we'll get an update from North Idaho's election headquarters in Kootenai County as ballots continue to come in. But as we go to break, here are some results for races in Kootenai County.